Wrath must be met with wrath. My sister is gone.
So, a war is clearly coming to Piltover. Who is siding with who is fighting who is leading who, and for what cause? Today, fellow minds, we are going to focus more on speculating on the possible alliance forming for Piltover, since as I will explain in a bit, Jinx's side in this war, this civil war, will be simpler in its composition. So fellow minds, be in comfort as I present to you the forces of Piltover and the Undercity in Arcane Season 2. Here in Mine Mind. Given the information from the teaser, let me first get the composition of the Undercity's forces out of the way. As hinted clearly in the teaser, Jinx will be the face and symbol leading this revolution of the Undercity, clearly being inspired by her assault on the Piltovan Council building and possibly inheriting some loyalty from Silco's former underlings. But hinted as well, Cambarons loyal to Silco and probably thus Jinx are also joining her revolt. Given the employment of enhanced Shimmer drugged fighters, it is clear that her revolution has gained support from at least some of the Cambarons. But which ones exactly are still vague, especially this one right here. This Yordle Cambaron is being portrayed as joining Jinx and fighting Sevika, which may imply Sevika is siding with Piltover. More on her and that Cambaron later. However, this may be a red herring, as this Cambaron's underlings seem unnerved and hesitant at Jinx's statue. And this scene fighting Sevika may be interpreted as him protecting Alright, pause before I say anything else. I just noticed post-editing that the person behind him, one of them is actually Jinx herself, and he also has very purple shot eyes, which implies he uses Shimmer. All of these point to the fact that he's probably an ally of Jinx and fighting for her instead of Piltover, and it is in fact Sevika who might in fact be the ally of Piltover, which makes sense. Protecting the children from Jinx's control, as you can see the children behind him. But yes, Jinx is gathering some of the residents of the Undercity and support of maybe some, if not all, of the Cambarons as they develop further Shimmer and Chem technology to fight Piltover. Speaking of... This teaser actually gave us a lot to dissect and connect to who is possibly siding with Piltover, and each group that I have identified actually has a different reason to fight the Undercity revolt led by Jinx. First, we see clearly the forces of the Noxian Medarda soldiers and Piltovan enforcers standing and marching side by side against the Undercity. Led by Ambessa Medarda and Caitlyn Kiraman respectively, Ambessa is seen convincing who we can only presume to be Caitlyn herself to join with her in avenging Caitlyn's mother's death, since she was part of the council Jinx bombed, and Ambessa's daughter's injuries also being caused by the same event. See my video on why I think Mel may survive Jinx's rocket. Both Ambessa and Caitlyn are motivated to avenge injured or even deceased loved ones caused by Jinx's attack on the council. However, I do want to point out and remind everyone that this is not the only reason why Ambessa is supporting Piltover in this war, which she clearly states to Mel when we first met her. I will make a dedicated video on Ambessa's motives and how it will affect her clan and the unfolding of her intentions and plans in Piltover, but it's basically something to do with her interests on Hextech weaponry, and as we see, Piltover will be developing just that in this season. So we have a clear alliance between Piltover and the Medarda Noxians, but I think there are more groups interested in fighting against Jinx's revolt. If you pause at this scene, you clearly see a host of Medarda and Piltovan soldiers being attacked by what we are presuming to be Jinx bombs. But among them is also, possibly, a Vistayan Firelight. This one specifically shown as being part of Echo's Undercity gang. Echo may hate Piltover's unjust elitist policies, but at least they weren't the ones who brought Shimmer in the direct degradation of the Undercity. Echo knows that Piltover is at least willing to cooperate with the Undercity and not meddle in its affairs. Compared to Jinx, who is willing to harm and kill innocents just on a whim and utilize and continue the trade of Shimmer, which he detests as being the source of the recent addictions and failings of the Undercity, he and his merry band of Firelights are willing to side with the Piltovan Medarda Alliance. Echo simply has a very contrasting vision for the Undercity, unmarred by Jinx's insanity and influence from Silco's philosophy and Shimmer tech. So detesting what Jinx represents and what she will bring about, Echo joins the fray on the side of Piltover and the Medardas against Jinx and Shimmer. Now that second group, the Firelights, is admittedly a bit speculative, but this third faction is even more so. But we do have hints in the teaser trailer and from Season 1 to point to this other seeming ally of Piltover. Sevika, though alike Echo hates the Piltovans, her animosity and dislike for Jinx in Season 1 might suggest her being an ally to Piltover in this second season. Since after all, her loyalty was originally to Silco, and now that Jinx killed him, perhaps her animosity towards her may swell up even further. But she is actually a bit contestable, since it is totally possible that she will and does not know who killed Silco, and mayhaps Jinx might have even lied to her about who was responsible for Silco's death to convince her to join her revolution, since her new mechanical arm has a very seemingly Jinxy style aesthetic to it. Maybe it is in fact the case that the Chem Baron Yordle she was fighting in the trailer was siding instead with Piltover, and that it is her that sides with Jinx. It could really go either way. The trailer, as I suggested in my previous video, go check that one out, seems to be giving us some red herrings with regards to the deaths of Mel, Jace, and Victor, so this could also be some sort of red herring, making us think that Sevika is fighting against Jinx, and it's actually the opposite thing. She's actually sided with Jinx for some reason, maybe Jinx deceived her, and that it is that Yordle Chem Baron that has sided with Piltover. But in any case, if my analysis be true, these will be the alliances formed by the two warring sides. Piltover having allied with the Medarda Noxians under the shared vengeance from Caitlyn Kiraman and Abessa Medarda against Jinx's assault, which resulted in their loved ones being hurt or killed. Then the Firelights under Echo joining them against Jinx's vision of a revolution due to how contrary it is to their own vision of Zaun or the Undercity. And possibly another Undercity group in the form of Sevika's followers or that Yordle Chem Baron, either way being motivated by a certain disdain for Jinx. And of course, for the Undercity, Jinx leading a revolution of the Undercity peoples and gaining the support of the other Chem Barons, if not all of the Chem Barons, against Piltover. However, aside from the forces going to war, more enigmatic plans behind the scenes are waiting and moving. House Pharos has still not made an appearance, though I speculate it is they who are driving the innovations in Hextech. Also, Ambessa may also be working with them for her own goals for Hextech innovation and weaponry, so stay tuned for my prediction video on that. But what do you think, fellow minds? Do you have your own predictions about the coming Piltover civil war? Do share them freely below. And may we indeed meet again soon, fellow minds. You are all always welcome here within mine mind.